This one stock can change early buyers' lives. I'm not a financial advisor, but some financial advisors might say to buy as much as possible before December 6th. The company is Twilio, ticker symbol TWLO. This ticker does AI, and voice AI specifically grew 60% year over year. This company is long known as like an automation software for phones. So if you have a small business to a medium business to any size business, really, you can set up your call-in number, your 1-800 number, whatever it is, in Twilio, and then you can route based on when people come in where that phone call goes, or if it triggers an email or an SMS or anything like that. So that's all great. That's what they've been doing for the past couple of decades. But now voice AI is so good that you've probably experienced this or something like this, where you get a call or you call someone up and then you get redirected or whatever, maybe by Twilio. You get a voice sometimes on the other end of the phone that sounds so good, it doesn't sound like a real person. Real people are imperfect, right? So, and for that reason, companies love it. Employees don't show up, they're grouchy or whatever. Now, Twilio does have an advantage of having so many existing customers. So they might be able to acquire the best voice AI solution, whether that's 11 Labs out of Europe, backed by Andreessen Horowitz, or some type of smaller, public company that has maybe more enterprise customers, but not as much technical prowess, like SoundHound, ticker symbol SOUN. The point is that 60% year over year revenue growth is a big deal. And they have over $1 billion in revenue, up 15% year over year. Seems like an interesting stock to buy. It's very early for Twilio. There's another stock on the whole other side of the hemisphere, and this ticker is SUPV. SUPV is what I'll call it, but you probably ought to speak Spanish to totally say it how it ought to be said. They are in Argentina, and they have a holding company of a bunch of regional banks, financial services, lending, of course. Argentina recently had an election, and Javier Milei was elected. So that was basically a big boost for all the Argentina stocks, including MELI, Mercado Libre, the Argentinian e-commerce, the Amazon of South America. They're not only in Argentina, they're in a lot of other countries down below the equator. This is a massive, big opportunity to be the next Amazon, the next JP Morgan Chase. I don't know if SUPV would be classified as the next JP Morgan, but the ticker just had earnings. The company seems to be holding up after that earnings. So it's an interesting opportunity to jump into this Argentinian stock given the macro environment. Let's jump into a little breakdown on the charts and what these companies are up to.
This is Sam Putnam.
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 So, real quick, this is what's going on here. Deregulation is the word that people always like to use when the quote-unquote Republican candidate gets elected, libertarian, whatever. Markets go up. Entrepreneurs basically push all of their projects to the front of the line to try to get them going. Now, Twilio, this is a little bit more of a technical wave. 60% year over year growth revenue from AI voice customers. So it's not just someone, at the top of I don't even know if Time Warner is still a company, but you get what I'm talking about. These massive enterprises, Chase, JP Morgan, are actually big consumers, I believe, of voice AI. Think about all the customer service they have to do. Any massive company who has a bunch of people answering the phone at some point is going to use something like Twilio. And they're not just saying, hey, try out some AI stuff because we keep reading these McKinsey reports. Bain keeps telling us that if we don't do AI, we're going to get ruined in the same way that these consulting companies like Accenture got ruined. All their people who were consultants are not needed because we can just use an LLM. This is a little different. This is more like not a nice to have tchotchke type of AI procurement. This is more like if you use voice AI, and this is pretty rough to say, but you can basically lay off tens of thousands of people within the next few years. And that's what they're doing. They're buying the product. So I don't know what to say except to say you can invest in the company that appears to be benefiting from that. So that's Twilio. And this is that revenue reaction and then the bounce. So the bounce is important. There have been reactions that do not bounce. I think Oracle comes to mind as maybe the worst example of that, where the price of the stock now is actually below it was before the OpenAI deal. So that OpenAI deal has had big moves in stocks like Broadcom. Even Walmart had a pop that continued after earnings. There's a lot more. Nvidia had a pop, kind of sold off after earnings, after that fake breakout. Nvidia was already up a lot though, so if this digests for 6 months, I don't think anyone is going to be completely dead on the company. But Twilio has a solid earnings reaction once you take into account some of those others' reactions. So it's not something as good as even Caterpillar pulled back and went. This is kind of a picture of Twilio actually. The bull case is it does something like this. It goes off of a left side peak. Twilio's kind of doing that here. It tested that right here. So right now, this is kind of not the most beautiful flag, because it failed here. But you do get an opportunity to jump in here. If you do set a stop, which you can do that on basically any broker, any software, risk $1 or $2. That's a pretty reasonable spot to risk. Maybe 2 days ago's low or yesterday's low. And look for $10, $20 to the upside, which is super reasonable. Doesn't even get you to that all-time high. Well, 151 is the 52-week high anyway. So that's the opportunity in Twilio. And if we look at SUPV, this one looks a little different. It's holding up. I'm going to have to check when the election was, but I think somewhere in here, all this volume is the election. That sounds about right. So it's cooled off a little bit and then had earnings and held up notably. So that's pretty exciting. If we look at Mercado Libre, this one looks a little worse, right? Had that election jump and then earnings did not help the company. Looks like the earnings per share missed. I don't know about guidance and sales, but it's down a bunch. Sales is revenue. And then it's had a little bounce. So there's definitely been some strength in the past couple weeks for all these Argentina companies. So that coincided well with this earnings. So, maybe these earnings aren't great, But they're good enough where it's definitely not causing the stock to sell off. So that's good. And as far as levels, there are these moving averages all sort of crossed is a pretty good spot. So risking $1 to make 10 is great. If you're super, on the ball, maybe you just want to risk, depending on where it opens today or tomorrow, if you can risk this high at 1190, that would be great too, to risk 25 cents or something like that. And then you only need a move of a few dollars to basically make that investment, short-term, mid-term investment, worth it. So I know everyone likes to talk about, massive macro tailwinds and all that. Invest in wide-ranging changes for a country, for their debt, for their currency. But like I just showed you, I mean, there was a boost based off of that, but then there was a sell-off as well. And then the sell-off's severities depend on the earnings reactions, where Mercado Libre has a worse earnings reaction. So it is kind of useful to look into the details a little bit for individual companies and not just bet on a whole country and then pick a random stock or company within that country to buy. Because if you did that, you might buy Melli, say, oh, it's like the Amazon of Argentina, let's just buy that one. You buy it right after that election move, which is actually over here, right here. And then you're down, it's not a lot, but you're down 5% for basically what is an avoidable loss. So in my opinion, it's better to jump in with a really tight risk and then look for a really big move up. And there are some notable examples where that has been very much a good idea. These are some stocks I have on the watch list right now, but basically every stock in September went up, right? So, and I'm not saying that, just buy the market because the market goes up. It's like, no, the whole point is the market goes up 5%, right? And then if you pick a stock that's at a favorable spot, you can get a move of more like 80%. So it is a big difference. It's worth it buying individual stocks. You just don't want to jump in and basically not have a risk level at all. So it's okay to take a lot of losses. So this is the idea on that macro Argentina move. People tend to just tune out when I talk about emerging markets, I've noticed. I can see the analytics. So for that reason, I think I'll just take a look at basically what's moving the most right now to give you a little pick of, hey, I think these stocks are great. I think Twilio's great. I think SUPV, this is the company, by the way. If you speak Spanish, maybe you'll tell me what this is. Grupo Superviel SA. It's at Argentina, whatever. These are companies you might be considering. And Nebius is still interesting. It's just slowly moving up. SanDisk, that long never really materialized. I think shorts are pretty happy they didn't get squeezed. I definitely would not long it right now. These are, by the way, sorted by the fastest, basically daily range over the past year. So what that means is right now they might not be moving a lot, but if you look over the past year, they do move quite a lot. And 600%, right? So some of them could come down to earth, but they also could have moves back up, which is exciting. So QXO right now, probably you don't want. Seems extended. BBAI, and these are just the top, 5 or so fastest moving most often moving over the past year that are over $1 billion market cap. So that's actually really important if you're looking for stocks to have filters that don't just overwhelm you. This was supposed to be, or maybe still supposed to be, the next Palantir, BBAI is somewhat interesting, but not holding up incredibly well right now. And CLSK could actually become interesting. This is a Bitcoin miner turned, I believe they're probably getting into the data centers like all the other Bitcoin miners at this point. And this earnings reaction looks pretty solid, actually. So even though initially I think there was some worry about that one. So the ideas are Twilio, TWLO, and SUPV, the Argentina ticker. If you like these ideas, hit that like button. It helps the YouTube algorithm show it to other people like you. And if you want a free course on how to buy stocks before they go up, hit that subscribe. If you want to see these ideas in real time, head over to stockscommunity.com. And there's a 7-day trial. So see if that's for you. See you in the next one.
This is Sam Putnam. This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.